There comes a time in your life when your desire to change must outweigh your desire to remain the same. If this is your time, I want you to know that whatever your circumstances are, you're exactly where you need to be right now. You are stronger than you know. You deserve to live in your purpose and to have a happy and fulfilling life. You're worth keeping your promises to yourself. Every single thing you've done until this point has been enough. You are enough. You always were. My greatest desire is for you to give yourself permission to take a chance on you because you're worth it. Welcome to the True Growth podcast. I am Latina Mata, your mindset coach. And in this podcast, we explore and learn all things related to self-love, self-discovery, and inner work. It is the foundation to help you navigate life and make the necessary internal shifts to become the very best version of yourself. It is my greatest pleasure to be with you right here, right now. Throughout this podcast, we get to grow through what we go through together. Welcome to another episode of the True Growth podcast. And in this episode today, we are going to talk about being stuck. And I'm going to answer the question that has been coming up so much. Why do you still feel stuck? And stuck is a word that people use to describe how they feel about themselves in their lives and in their current situations. And I want you to know that this is a safe space. This is no judgment. I've been here. I've done this. Sometimes I'm here again, and it is simply a part of the process. Growth is not linear. It is very cyclical, which means that you could find yourself, in experiences and in states and in stages where you're like, why am I here again? And it's simply an indication of some healing that needs to be done, some perspective changes that needs to be happening. It's an indication of energetic work to be done and just layers of things. So if you are feeling stuck or you expected not to feel stuck, but you're here again, I want you to know that it's okay. You're safe and it's okay. And there are solutions to these things. It's simply a starting point of coming to a place of consciousness. So when we speak about feeling stuck usually feels like there's no action that you're taking that feels good. It feels as though you're not in a place of alignment. It feels as though there's no clarity. It feels as though you're on autopilot. It feels as though you're not growing. You feel very stagnant. You feel very disconnected. You feel very meh or bleh about a lot of things. Or it can be on the other side of the spectrum where there's just huge clambering feeling that just feels as though you're being called for more. You feel really pulled to do certain things. But when it comes to actually implementing the action steps, there's so much resistance. There's so much reasons as to why you can't or shouldn't do it. And I want to touch on a few of those reasons for why you could possibly feel stuck, why you could still be feeling stuck after so long. And I'm going to share with you the biggest one, and that was a huge game changer for me when I discovered this situation. And that is, there is a perceived benefit of your current circumstance. Now, follow me, because I know somebody would be like, perceived benefit? No, I just want to get out of this space. I just want to move from here. I just want to do something different. There's no benefits here. And the truth is, that is you not being honest with yourself. It's either you're not being honest, one, or in terms of consciousness, you are not aware of what your perceived benefits of staying exactly where you are, right? So for example, if you're somebody who desires to move out of your home, and where you currently live, you pay no bills, or if you pay bills, it's very minimum. You don't have that much responsibility in terms of where you currently are, but there is a part of you that desires to move out. And you desire to move out because that higher part of you wants more space, wants more freedom, wants more flexibility, wants to feel more independent, etc., etc. And where you currently are, you don't have much of that, but you are also very comfortable because you don't have the stress of having to manage an entire household or having to manage particular tasks and particular things. And if you are to be very aware of your circumstance and what it is you feel and believe to be true about your current circumstance, in that space, you get to see the perceived benefits. The perceived benefits would be that you don't have to pay a huge amount of money towards bills and living in your current space. You don't have to worry about if the sink destroys or some plumbing happens and you have to be the one to take care of fixing that problem. There are perceived benefits of your current circumstances, and oddly, crazily, truthfully, that is usually what keeps us stuck. The comfort of staying exactly where we are because of the perceived benefits of your current situation. And when you realize how, and I would say silly, because when I had my epiphany about my perceived benefits in terms of a current situation, I had to laugh at myself, but I was also very confused because I was like, Latina, you mean to tell me the reason you are not taking action towards where it is you want to go is because of this ... very venial excuse or venial benefit? And yeah, and it usually is. It usually is something so, in inverted commas, insignificant, and you just can't believe that that is the reason you have been preventing yourself from taking the necessary action steps to go to where you'd like to go. So I'm saying all that to say, I need you, whatever area in your life that you are experiencing discomfort or you desire to change, I want you to be super honest about what is the perceived benefits of not changing. What is the perceived benefits of you just staying right where you are? And when you notice what that perceived benefit is, some forgiveness work would be necessary because you would have to come to a space to forgive yourself for acknowledging or for staying, in this particular space for so long because of this particular benefit or particular benefits. When you notice that, when you acknowledge it, when you forgive it, when you say, okay, I see that this is why I've been here for so long, you make a decision to let it go and decide now you're going to take the action steps towards where it is you actually want to go. But perceived benefits, comfort in perceived benefits that you either are aware of or not, and most times you are unaware of it, it plays a huge part as to why you are still in the same place. Number 2, and as I spoke about forgiveness, that is going to bring me to decluttering, right? Decluttering is a huge part of this healing process. Decluttering your beliefs, decluttering your energetic state, decluttering from a physical level as well. I spoke about this in a previous podcast. Clearing up your space, getting rid of your physical things in your space is decluttering, and it impacts your energetic state. When it comes to feeling stuck, there are beliefs that are running in the background that is based or as a result of old subconscious programming. And those beliefs, without you acknowledging or not, have been running your show. So if you believe that you are incapable of running a household for yourself, then even if you have goal is to move out and have your own space December 31st, 2021, the actual possibility of you making that come to reality is way on a slimmer scale than it coming to reality, because at a core level, your belief system is you are incapable of managing a household by yourself. That is where the consciousness is so mandatory, because this is where your self-awareness comes into play. This is where you having knowledge about what your belief system is absolutely necessary. And you need to declutter those beliefs. Decluttering those beliefs are not just saying affirmations and saying, I am capable, I am capable. That's not the end all of decluttering work. Decluttering work is sincerely acknowledging the belief, seeing where the belief started, where it came from, what was the original incident that made you believe that that is true. Decluttering looks like accepting this belief as something that you believed to be true and learning to love it, learning to forgive it, learning to say thank you for the purpose that it would have served up until the point that it served you. Decluttering is about bringing yourself to a space of acknowledging that although you believe this particular thing to be true and it has impacted your life in different ways, it has not added nor taken away from how whole and awesome and perfect you are. Decluttering, in essence, is bringing yourselves a space of acceptance. And that sounds so ironic. It sounds so much like a paradox. But decluttering is bringing yourself to a space of acceptance, of bringing things to the surface, deciding that you get to respond differently, deciding that you are going to believe something differently. At the same time, it's not trying to force things, not trying to get rid of things, not trying to fix things. It is about acknowledging what it is, being very open and honest about where you're at, thanking it for whatever it has done up until this point, and then energetically letting it go. Then making a decision that you no longer want to believe that belief, that you no longer want to live in that state. There are so many layers to this work, guys, but decluttering is absolutely necessary when it comes to you feeling stuck. And decluttering old beliefs. And it requires support. Don't expect you to do it for yourself. It requires support. It requires you to do it consistently. It requires that you do it gracefully. It requires that you do it in increments. So it's to start very small. There's no need to go trying to bulldoze down years and years and years of belief systems. One at a time. Gently, incrementally, and you would see that these shifts take place in stages and with a long-lasting effect. The third reason why you could still feel stuck is because you completely disregard your intuition. It's either you disregard your intuition, so when it comes up, when the voice comes up, when the gentle nudge comes up, you say, maybe that's not true. Let me check in with somebody else. I don't think that's true. You're probably going to your monkey brain and trying to find logic to explain this intuitive nudge. And so you completely just ignore it. And if you're not actually receiving any nudges or any downloads or any insights, you simply just don't hear. You just do not hear your intuitive nudges. And as I mentioned at the start of this episode, this is a safe space. So if you are in either of those spaces, it's okay. It could be changed. Healing could take place. It's not too late. You're not too late. You're not on time. You are very, very, very much on time. And when it comes to that intuition and being able to listen and hear your intuition and be able to acknowledge what it is you feel at a gut level, it requires you to rebuild your self-trust. Rebuilding your self-trust is not a one and done thing. It's like any other muscle that you would build in your body. Self-trust requires you to take this up every single day and do small tasks that would help you to build your self-trust. And what that essentially means is learn to keep promises to yourself. If you make a promise to yourself, keep it. So, of course, you would feel stuck if you can't tell the difference between what is true to you and what is logical, in inverted commas logical, or what makes sense to do. Action brings clarity. So if you feel stuck, it's because there is no clarity. And if there is no clarity, it's because there is no action. And there is no action because you are afraid to listen to yourself. You're afraid to trust yourself. You're afraid to take this step, even if it doesn't make sense to anybody else. But in your spirit, in your soul, in your body, you know that this is the right thing to do. So the first place or the best place for you to start when it comes to feeling unstuck is to start to learn to trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Self-trust is a muscle, and I know so many of us would have been conditioned as children not to trust ourselves. We would have heard our parents say, no, that never happened. No, that's not true. No, you're not that angry. No, you don't need to feel sad. No, you don't have anything to worry about. No, you don't have that. Like, we would have been taught that as children. And because we have been taught that as children, of course, we would have grown up learning not to trust ourselves, because when we were children, we were taught that the things that we felt weren't true. A lot of it would have been disregarded, discarded, minimized to mean nothing. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So, of course, in our adulthood, could we expect anything differently? And so if this falls in your garden, if this resonates with you, then the first place for you to start to begin feeling unstuck is to start rebuilding that self-trust muscle. Another thing, which is a huge one, your environment. So in this mindset workspace, in this inner healing space, in this, self-healing space, and this space that I do so much work in, we don't really talk about our physical environments that much, but I need to put some real emphasis on physical environment. Your physical environment is not just your home or your actual physical surroundings. Your physical environment includes people. Your physical environment includes what you consume. Your physical environment includes all the things that have access to your gateways. And when I say gateways, I mean your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your heart, your feelings of touch, your gateways, but specifically your eyes and your ears. The people that you spend time around, what are they speaking? What are they doing? Where are they going? Your Facebook, your Instagram, your social media, what does your explore page have on it? If you are seeing things that speak to where you currently are over and over and over and over, how are you going to become unstuck if you do not have a model, if you do not have an expander, you do not have proof of what is possible, you do not have proof of where you can be and who you could be and where it is you could be good in your life? Sometimes not many of us are aware, conscious of the fact that our environment has a huge part to play, and even in the most subliminal way. What do you watch on Netflix? What type of content do you consume on Netflix to the point that it just ingrains into your subconscious mind, or it just amplifies what is already in your subconscious mind, so it just becomes more and more rooted? And so, of course, feeling stuck is your thermostat. That's the furthest that you could go, because you've just been feeding yourself the same type of thing over and over and over. Your environment matters. Your environment matters. Energetically, you require energy to be moved from your body. You require that the stuck energy stored in your body needs to be moved. And it is not moved simply by affirmations. It is not moved simply by doing gratitude journals. It is not moved by signing up for a course and being part of a group program. It is a layered activity. So your physical environment matters. What you consume via television, radio, music, the people that you are around, big factor. And as well, moving your body physically. Giving yourself permission to move your body physically. Exercise, yoga, swimming, stretching, dance, whatever feels good to you, do that. Because in doing so, a lot of what keeps us stuck as well, and I keep referring to this word energy, is stuck energy in our bodies. So it's absolutely mandatory that you find new ways of environments that support where it is you're trying to go. And here is my final reason for why you may still be stuck. And this one was also a huge shift for me. And if I have to be also honest, it really took me quite a while to get out of this space. It took so much unlearning for me to get out of this place. It took so much energetic management for me to get out of this place. And that was me acknowledging with my whole heart and soul that my enoughness, so I'm saying your enoughness, your worthiness, your joy, your peace, your happiness, your connection, your love, your pride, whatever it is that is your purpose emotion, is not found on the other side of accomplishing something. You are 150% capable of experiencing that emotion right here, right now, without having that fancy job that you want, without having the amount of money in your bank account that you're looking for, without having this wonderful 6-figure business and, just being the most and doing the most based on what social media standards says. When it comes to manifestation, when it comes to creation, when it comes to doing this type of work, all we hear all over the places, be the best version of yourself now. You need to be that version of yourself that you want to be now. And yes, that is true. That is true. I agree. But what a lot of people do not mention is when you are trying to be a better version of yourself now, which is essentially a very stretching feeling, without acknowledging that who you are right now in this current moment is enough, is perfect, is whole, is good, is worthy right now. What it essentially is saying to you is that who you are is not enough. So follow me. You've been hearing, be to have. Be the version of yourself that you want to be now, so that you could do the things that you want to do, so that you could have the things that you want. I agree. I 100% agree. But if you are, let's just say, an inconsistent person, or you consider yourself having a challenge with consistency, and you have decided that you are going to be a consistent person so that you could do certain things, so that you could have what it is you want, but you have not accepted and acknowledged the beliefs that are underneath that inconsistency, the beliefs that might say, I don't feel as though I am capable enough. I don't feel as though I'm able to do such hard work. I don't feel as though I am committed. If you have not acknowledged those beliefs and accepted and acknowledged the emotions that come as a result of those beliefs, for example, feeling not capable, feeling unworthy, feeling unvaluable, feeling as though you're not enough, whatever is the emotion, feeling afraid, feeling lonely, whatever is the emotion, if you have not accepted and loved that emotion radically, right? And you have basically dismissed it, shoved it under the mat, act as though it don't exist, decide that you're going to power through becoming this consistent person, what you are essentially saying is that who you are in this very moment before you become consistent is not enough. Does that make sense? I know that's some next level heights, and I hope I did a decent enough job explaining that. The place when you are in this version, in this space where you're trying to become unstuck and you're trying to do the be, do, have, and you're trying to become this better version of yourself, before you start being that version of yourself that you desire to be, the starting point is to bring all the parts of you to the party. Acknowledge all the beliefs. Acknowledge all the emotions that you inverted commas, say do not serve you. See it for what it is. Thank it for how much it has served you up until this point, because the truth is it has. It has tried its best to keep you safe. That is where these things come from. The sole purpose of it is not to destroy you. It was to keep you safe. And what has been taught on these internet streets is that we need to get rid of these things. We need to not have it anymore. We're not supposed to feel those things. You need to be high vibe all the time. BS. That is causing so much damage in the long run. And I know, because I've been there. There's so much of it that I had to unlearn. And when I began to unlearn it, the solution has been to accept those parts of me that I had been trying to fix. So when it comes to being unstuck, Bring all the things to the party, all the emotions, all the beliefs that had been holding you back. Acknowledge them for what it is. See how it had served you. I'm not saying that the process is going to be easy. See how much it has served you. Make a decision that you are no longer going to be run by a 7-year-old version of you, that you are no longer going to be run by old beliefs that are not serving you anymore, that you are no longer going to be the one that is getting directions from a past version of you that you no longer resonate with, that you are going to be the one to pick up the mantle. You are going to be the one to say, hey, I have co-creative process in this, and I am going to do something differently. And when you do that, and you begin to love the parts of you that feel guilty, love the parts of you that feel afraid, love the parts of you that feel ashamed, love the parts of you that feel disconnected, love the parts of you that feel unhappy. When you begin to love the parts of you that feel all these feelings that you've actually been trying to get away from, it's when it starts to reduce its strength. That is when things start to get less resistant. Because all it had been asking for so long is for you to just see it, for you to just acknowledge it, for you to just love it, for you to just see it for what it is and what it had been trying to do for so long. When you start doing that, paired with be, do, have, so you have now decided, all right, so I've seen all these things, I've acknowledged my beliefs, I've acknowledged where it's served me, I've acknowledged how far it's taken me. It hurts to see that I had been in this space for so long simply out of just trying to protect me. But it also gives this level of relief, right? There's a lot of decluttering that needs to take place when you acknowledge that, letting it go energetically, forgiving it, loving it, thanking it, right? Then you decide, okay, so now the version of myself that I desire to be is a consistent person. And so with you acknowledging the fact that underneath that lack of consistency was so many things, when you start to show up in that be, do, have space of being a more consistent version of yourself, that gets to triumph, that gets to be in the forefront, because the other parts of you don't have any reason to be putting up this big war anymore, because you have acknowledged it. And so doing that, beginning to be that version of yourself, makes doing consistent people things easier. And then you get to have the things that you want. It is all interconnected. I don't expect that this is a magic trick type of thing. I hope and I pray in this very moment that if you're listening to this episode, some light bulb moments are going off for you. But the truth is, getting unstuck is not an outside person job. It is an inside person job. Every single thing I mentioned is 100% related to you, to where you are in terms of your self-acceptance, to where you are in terms of your consciousness and being aware of your thoughts and your beliefs. It has all to do with you accepting all the parts of you, all the emotions that you've been suppressing and hiding from. You have co-creative power in this situation. I promise you that you do. I'm not asking for you to do this in a big, grandiose way and, to just go bulldozing down everything. I'm asking you to give yourself permission to be conscious, to be aware of your emotions, to be aware of your thoughts, to be aware of the perceived benefits of your current situation, to be aware of when you're in decision paralysis and analysis paralysis. Be aware of when you're functioning out of fear. To be aware and to give yourself grace to accept where you currently are. Not being able to accept where you currently are plays a huge part in why you feel stuck. And accepting where you are does not mean surrender to your current situation from the angle of giving up. Accepting where you are is bringing yourself to a space of consciousness, to acknowledge that everything that you've done until this point has brought you exactly where you need to be. And you now have co-creative power to change the trajectory of your future by being present with where you are. As I always say, life is such a paradox. To get unstuck, you need to be very present with where you are. You need to be present with where you are. Be okay with where you are, and not from a place of surrender and giving up and quitting, but from a space of gentle, compassionate love. Acknowledgement that where you have come from, what you have done, your experiences have shaped you and have brought you right here. What lessons do you have to learn? What do you have to offer the world? What can you do? Who do you need to be? From a space of acknowledgement. And even if you have no money in your bank account right now, you are still whole. You are still worthy. Even if you don't have the relationship of your dreams right now, you are still whole and you are still worthy. Even though you didn't meet that quota as yet financially for the quarter, you are still whole and you are still worthy. If you can bring yourself to a place where your enoughness, your worthiness is not found on the other side of something, you are in a great space to start feeling unstuck, or stop feeling unstuck. If you are able to acknowledge what the perceived benefits of your current situation are, and forgive it, and love it, and say thank you to it, that level of self-awareness and consciousness would allow you to change the beliefs, to change the ways of being that you currently function in your current space, so that you could create something different in the future. You are required to check in with your environment. Do these things support me? You are required to learn to build that self-trust muscle. So guys, I said a lot, and I hope that this resonated with you. I hope something stood out to you. This brings me to the end of this podcast episode. Why do you still feel stuck? And if anything here resonated with you, of course, send me a message, leave a review, share with your friends. I would see you chat with you, I should say, in the next episode. Love you so much. Bye bye.